As Canada's international role is being debated, our guest MP has had an important role by virtue of pursuing his passions. Boom and Bust welcomes Mike Lake. He is the Member of Parliament for Edmonton-Wetaskiwin for the first time. Welcome to the program.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me, Tony.
Before we get to the topics at hand, of course, it's summertime, and you're no doubt spending at least part of that time with your constituents in your riding. Tell us what sort of feedback are you getting from your constituents?
Well, it's actually it's a really interesting time. It's been really busy since I came back. The riding of Edmonton-Wetaskiwin is Canada's largest, so it's about twice the size of an average riding by population, 230,000 we figure right now. And so lots of opinions. Part of the ridings in the city and part of the ridings outside the city, and so opinions can be a little bit different too, based on where our constituent roundtables are at. So we're having a lot of constituent roundtables, a lot of concern right now about the economy. We've seen the crime numbers, the violent crime numbers, particularly over the last couple of weeks, and seen another increase in those, and it's something that constituents are experiencing. Talking to constituents who live in the city who use public transit on a regular basis, this is a big issue for them. Of course, in the rural areas, we talk about firearms and firearms regulations quite a bit. It's a fairly regular topic. No shortage of things to discuss, but I think front and center for most people right now is the cost of living, the economy broadly, and all of those things.
Yeah, so Edmonton is not immune from any of that. Rising house prices, spiraling food costs, that kind of thing?
No, absolutely not. And I mean, I know that the situation might be different than in some parts of the country, but we're experiencing the same thing here. Of course, the carbon tax has a huge impact on job creators, no matter where they are, but maybe particularly hard felt sometimes in the agriculture sector, and for those people that have to travel around a lot for work in rural areas. So definitely front of mind. But we do also have a dynamic where you've got people from Ontario moving out to Alberta now,
Right.
which is helpful, I guess, in terms of some of our labor shortages and those kind of things, because clearly we're not hit as hard as Toronto and Vancouver and those big city areas in terms of the cost of living, and particularly the cost of housing.
Yeah, and are they these newcomers, I guess, from down east? They're finding the jobs, but I guess that has an impact on housing prices too, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? It's cyclical everywhere, right? I mean, the reality is right now in this economy, we're short just about everything in terms of labor. So we're not only short people to build houses, but we're short doctors and nurses, and even people in restaurants and hotels and any kind of manufacturing. So there's a lot of shortages. It does help on the labor side, but you're right. We still need housing for everybody, and that's we're short everywhere across the country right now. A big issue that I don't think the government has dealt with seriously enough over the last 8 years,
Right.
and something that we need to combat.
Let's talk about some of your interests. You've taken a lot of interest in international aid and development. Tell us why that's important.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, actually, that goes back to the time we served together, right? So I was your parliamentary secretary at one point in time, and of course, you represent the Muskoka region, or represented the Muskoka region. They're a beautiful part of not only Canada, but a beautiful part of the world. And we hosted a G8. Then it was a G8 in that region in 2010. And it's really interesting. Prime Minister Harper made a signature initiative at the time called the Muskoka Initiative, to tackle two areas that were real challenges, that we were behind on, sort of these Millennium Development Goals that had been set for 2015 to tackle a bunch of things, but two of them were infant mortality, or child mortality, the kids dying under 5 for things that could be completely preventable, and then maternal mortality, mothers in and around childbirth around the world. And the initiative that came out of that Muskoka summit in 2010 is seen largely had one stakeholder, a very prominent actually stakeholder, who doesn't probably lean conservative generally in his political views, who said that it's probably one of the top 2 impactful initiatives